Welcome to another meditation from Maren of Yes And. I'm very excited to walk you through a meditation today that supports balance between creating boundaries with allowing, receiving, and trusting the support that is all around you. Settle into your comfortable meditation position, and before closing your eyes, keep them open and gently take in everything that surrounds you. Notice one or two elements within your space that make you feel extra safe. One or two things that give you a sense of peace, a sense of home. And with that feeling tapped into and that trust already beginning, close your eyes and find that trust and safety within yourself in your breaths. Starting to deepen your breath with a big inhale in and a big exhale out. Another big inhale in and full release exhale out. And pay attention to how that breath feels as it fills your airway, your lungs, and as it releases out. Listen to how it sounds. Simply listening, observing, feeling in wonder and awe for this gift of air that your body does all on its own. Notice how it sounds just like waves. Waves on a beach, rolling up and gently pulling back. And allow this sound to transport you to an imagined beach. In your mind's eye, picture a beachfront that makes you feel safe. A beachfront that makes you feel inspired, leaning toward openness, creativity, that same sense of wonder that we held for our own breath. And as you draw to mind this beach, imagine yourself looking around, taking in what's there. Are there trees? Are there buildings or people? What color is the sand or rock? And what color is the water and sky? And then imagine yourself finding a sandy point on the beach, near the water's edge, and have a seat there. Imagine yourself sitting down on the warm grains of sand, legs stretched in front of you perfectly so that as the waves crash, they just touch your toes. Right here in this moment, imagine with your hands you start to trace shapes, textures in the sand beside you. And with the free flow of these movements, imagine yourself tracing a circle in the sand. And as you continue to circle in the sand, that trench gets deeper, leaving height of sand in the middle, like a sand castle with a moat around it. And then, just as you may have done as a child, imagine yourself digging a moat, continuing that depth to the water's edge. And watch now, imagine as the waves crash toward you, they now fill the moat that you just created. Imagine yourself sitting back, resting at this mini sand castle you just created, with that same sense of wonder and awe for how the water fills this trench and yet leaves the center point of sand dry. Allowing that creation to rest for a moment, imagine yourself turning your gaze back to the water, the expanse of ocean or lake in front of you, with the horizon wider than your mind can comprehend. This vastness inspires you to think of one of your greatest dreams, one of your greatest desires on your heart right now. And as you think of this desire, your dream that's on your heart, what image or object comes to mind to represent this dream or desire? Imagine that you are fully capable of creating a sand castle that represents this object. Maybe you imagine your hands creating this object out of sand, a representation of your dream and desire, or maybe it just appears. Either way, take that object and place it in the center of that castle you had built a moment ago. The object now sitting on that dry patch of sand in the center of your moat that fills gently with water with each passing wave. Just as you start to imagine and take in that representation of your dream being surrounded by water, being held safe with boundaries around it. Imagine that the sand starts to fall away, and the once strong, siloed castle in the middle of the moat that you created starts to fall into the trench. Notice what feelings are coming up for you. And then try on for size what it's like to imagine this as the best news yet. Because you notice the grains of sand that created your desire and dream representation are being pulled into the ocean. Floating into that vastness, which is where the dream and desire ultimately began. See if you can feel a sense of trust that the falling away of your castle, the blurring of those boundaries, is actually the safest thing that has happened yet. And then imagine laying back onto the sand with your whole body. If you're a yogi, similar to Shavasana. And if not, similar to what you do right before bed. Laying down in a stance of surrender. And then trusting what feels most comfortable and supportive for you. Either imagine yourself staying here on this beach, feeling the sand underneath you, or imagine the waves crashing up onto the beach a little farther, so far that they actually hold you and bring you into the ocean. Allow your imagination to take you where it feels comfortable yet expansive. Floating on the water or floating on the sand. Either way, becoming one with the very place your greatest desires in life originate and return to. Notice this feeling of floating while vulnerable also has boundaries within it. the boundary between your skin and what's beneath you, the boundary even within your own imagination, knowing that at any point you can imagine something different. Embrace how simultaneously, both in your imagined castle experience and in this moment of imagining yourself floating, you have choice, and you can trust where you choose to create and maintain boundaries, and where you choose to release and surrender. Even within the boundaries, such as the moat or trench around your castle, there can still be allowing as the waves crashed in and filled that space. And even in the floating, the complete surrender, there are boundaries that make it all possible. Staying present to this feeling or to any part of the meditation that called out most to you. We'll slowly come back to where we began with 3 deep breaths. Big inhale, filling not only your lungs but your entire body and spirit. And exhale. A second big breath in. And breath out. And a third inhale. And as you exhale, gently blink open your eyes. Return to this room, to where you are. Notice once more the 1 or 2 objects that you first laid your eyes on that make you feel safe. Notice how they parallel your meditation experience. And from here, trust whatever experience was had or lesson was calling has already taken place. Trust yourself and your next steps, where you choose to go from here, be it journaling or on to the next task. And know that you can always return. Thank you for joining me in another guided meditation. This one was inspired directly from my group members in the Yes and experience, where I host weekly group coaching calls and monthly wellness challenges to support sustainable personal development, self-trust, and growth. If you want to learn more, there's information in the description below. There's also a link to my meditation playlist where you can find many more opportunities to tune in and trust yourself.